Before I get into the movie itself, I just want to get this out of the way. The Great Wall is the most expensive Chinese production in history. About 90% of the movie was shot in China. It has Chinese producers, a mostly Chinese cast, a Chinese crew, and a Chinese director. Now you may be wondering why Matt Damon is in this movie. Well, here's the thing. Matt Damon is one of the biggest stars in the world, and China knows that. So in order for a movie like this to be internationally successful, the director wanted to bring in one of the biggest stars on the planet. This also wasn't him replacing a Chinese character. The character was always meant to be an outsider, was always meant to be somebody who wasn't from there. The movie was a bit of a joint venture between East and West. You had Max Brooks writing the story, and there were some American producers, but the vast majority of everything was from China. Okay, with that out of the way, The Great Wall had my attention because it was directed by Zhang Yimou. Now, he's somebody who directed one of my all-time favorite movies, House of Flying Daggers. If you haven't seen this movie, it is incredible. It is a movie that I just adore. It's a gorgeous movie. It's one of the prettiest movies I've ever seen because the director, along with his DOP, they have an eye for color that has been missing in a lot of American films lately. Matt Damon is a mercenary who gets captured by the Chinese at the Great Wall, and he comes to find out that every 60 years there's this group of monsters that are coming out of this mountain and are attacking and trying to get into China, and the wall was constructed there to keep them out. It's not a bad movie, I just feel that it could have been a lot more. What I liked about the movie, again, the color scheme in this was beautiful. The armor that the soldiers were wearing, you had different units that were wearing different colored outfits. So you had some wearing all blue armor, you had some wearing all red, you had some wearing all yellow, and it was striking. It stood out because you had dozens of people all lined up in perfect formation, all wearing these different colored outfits, and it was beautiful. It just looked fantastic. The hills and valleys that they were traveling through in the beginning, it was badlands, and the soil was just this multitude of colors. It was very eye-catching and good-looking. There's a sequence later in the film where there's this tower that's all stained glass, and the light's shining in, and it's just radiating all these different colors. Gorgeous, really good-looking. I liked Commander Lin Mei. She was a very strong character and was a take-no-shit badass. I liked that they didn't turn her into a love interest. She was a leader, she was tough, and she believed in Matt Damon and had respect for him, but it didn't turn into some hokey romantic thing, and that would have felt like something straight out of Hollywood. Andy Lau was great. I do wish they had him do a little bit more. I don't think that he did quite as much as he normally would have in one of these kind of movies. I thought the effects were good. The practical sets they had, these really big interiors, and some of the exteriors you could tell were real, and then there were other ones you could tell were CGI. It was pretty much the set extensions where you could tell it was CG, but all the practical sets were nicely done. They were well made and looked really good. You could see that a lot of money went into those. The CG monsters were good, but I think back to Starship Troopers when they had a mixture of practical and real, and they looked amazing, and that was back in the 90s. And here we have such advancements with technology and also a gigantic budget, and they went all CG with the monsters, and they looked good, but it still just had that uncanny valley. You could just tell that they were CG. So that leads me to what I didn't like about the film. I did think that there was too much of a reliance on CG, and there was a lot of CG slow motion shots. So they're firing arrows, and the arrow flies by the camera, and it slows down, and then it goes into one of the monsters. And then they're shooting these giant catapults, and it goes and slows down, and it was kind of cool, but at the same time, once, twice, how many times are you going to do this, guys? There were times when you could tell where the actors were acting at nothing. All right, there's a monster over there, react. And they're kind of moving around, and I don't know, it didn't feel right. Another thing that I didn't like, I do think that there was a little bit too much Matt Damon in the movie. Initially going in, I thought that it was going to be the fish out of water story. I thought it was going to be him coming in and we're finding out about everything that's going on around him, and he's there to help. And he didn't become the white savior that everybody who watched the trailer and then decided to go bitch about it is complaining, but he did do a lot more to help than some of the other trained soldiers. Although it was a pleasant surprise that Lin May was also a badass. So really it was Matt Damon who was William. So it was William and Lin May's movie, and also Matt Damon's buddy Tovar. For as much money that they put into this movie, I do feel like they could have done another script revision. It had good parts to it, but there were a lot of lulls. There was just parts that did kind of drag on a bit. I was never bored, but I was always on the cusp of being bored. So that's why I think that maybe with a little bit more polish, it would have gotten rid of those moments. I mean, it doesn't have to be action all the time, but if you're going to have these slower moments, you need to do something to make it a little bit more engaging and just not meandering. The Great Wall was a bit of a disappointment. With the high-quality stuff that I've seen from the director previously, I was expecting to be pleasantly surprised with this, because I had seen the trailers, and the trailers didn't really do anything for me, so I was going in fully on his name. I'm like, okay, he's never let me down before. I've loved his work previously. This is his biggest film to date, so fingers crossed that maybe it's just a bad trailer. And no, the trailer represented the film pretty well. If you saw the trailer and it didn't really do anything for you, there's a pretty good chance that the movie's not going to do anything for you either.